Let's see. All right. Okay. I always have to do a check to make sure that this is broadcasting live on Facebook. If you ever want to hop into the Zoom call, which I see Katie's here today, which is awesome, you can just use the link that is in the event description on the Facebook group. But what I found was sometimes a couple extra steps of trying to get people into a Zoom. It's just, not convenient for everyone. So that's why we started broadcasting on Facebook as well. Also, the recordings live on Facebook forever. And so they're a good resource to go back to. But at this point, I am going to start recording. All right, welcome, friends. We are talking about movement today. We are going to make this concise but helpful because I know everybody's busy and y'all have a lot going on, just like I do. I have the monitor here. Typically, I do these calls at this time because Jim is home. And so if the baby wakes up, he can go handle her, but he's traveling. So we're going to try to make it super quick so that just in case she wakes up, that I can take care of her too. So today we are talking about movement. Like I said, we have, Katie's on in our Zoom call. If you ever want to hop in the Zoom, that way you can utilize the chat. We can, have conversations. The link for that is in the a description of the event on Facebook. It's also, if you are in the First Form app, I also post a reminder on Mondays for this call. So you can always hop on there or again, watch it live on Facebook. So today we're talking about movement. I'm going to share my screen. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat in Zoom or also drop them in the comments on Facebook, and I will double check both at the end to make sure that we are getting everyone's questions answered. Or if you watch this later, the recording, drop it in there, tag me. I did actually just see a comment like a week ago. Somebody asked a question. I was like, oh, I missed it and I felt bad. So if I at any point don't reply to a comment or a question, tag me or send me a message because I never want to leave anyone hanging. So we are going to share screen. Ba-bump. Go here, share. All right, we are going to go here. Let's see how this goes. I always love technology. All right. Double checking. Why? Resume share. I don't know why it's paused. I don't know why I go back paused. Let's try a different way. Trying to make sure that it's on the screen on Facebook. All right, there we go. I see it now. Okay, awesome. So today we're talking about movement. The past couple weeks we talked about calories, we talked about protein. Today we're talking about movement. So anyone that I work with, we always talk about the big four, which are calories, protein, movement, and water. I have a whole list of what we're going to talk about over the 8 weeks. We do these live calls over the 8 weeks of our 8-week challenge, which happens 4 times a year. But again, at any time, if you have questions, I am here for it. I do my one-on-one feedback for all my clients on Monday, and I literally answer so many random questions, but I love it. I get questions like, how can I work out with a busy schedule? How can I add more vegetables? Give me protein ideas that taste like dessert. Like I am here for it. I love finding answers to questions because I know sometimes these things that might seem small, like, protein snacks on the go might seem like a small thing, but that can be a barrier to progress. And so I always want to make sure that you guys have all your questions answered. And again, it could be about anything. So today we're talking about movement. Movement, again, is one of those big four. It's so vital for our healthy living. Okay, so here, first line, vital, right? Vital for health and well-being. It's the adage of if you don't use it, you lose it. And this is very true. I'm sure you can think of, people that you knew who were once active and then they get older and they stop moving and all of a sudden they're having health problems. If you can get healthy at a younger age and stay active, you're naturally going to lose muscle. You're naturally going to, get more fatigued. Our bodies are honestly in a state of decay. So the more that we can move and take care of it and, take our vitamins and eat our good food, we're helping ourselves live longer well. So I'm actually reading a great book right now called Outlive, and it's not about living forever, but it's about is, not getting to 70, getting, they call like the four horsemen, like cancer, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, or diabetes, like, that hinders your lifestyle at 70 and then living to 80, right? Because then you have 10 years of life that you're not suffering, but it's just not a high quality of life. The goal is to get to 80 living well. Like, yes, we're going to age, but movement is an important part of that. So stimulates our circulation, it exercises our heart, it exercises our muscle, it keeps us at a healthy weight, which means our body doesn't have to work as hard. It helps our mood. I mean, how often do you feel so much better after going for a walk or doing a workout? Just getting up and moving. I know one of the things we're going to talk about is we have very sedentary lifestyles, a lot of us, as far as sitting at a computer. Now people I know have walking pads at their desk, which are awesome because we just need to move our bodies more. The more you move, the better you sleep. It also can be very social, whether you're going to a gym or you're going for a walk with one of your family members. It's just good for us. Okay. So what we're going to talk about today is the different types of movement and how to incorporate that into our busy lifestyle. So first of all, we talk about calories in and calories out as far as energy balance. And we talked about this a little bit when we talked about carbs and not carbs, calories and protein, that if you are taking in more calories than you're burning, you are in a surplus, which means you're going to gain weight. If you are taking in as much as you're burning, you're in maintenance. You're going to maintain, give or take a smidge. If you are taking in less than you burn, you are going to lose weight. So depending on what your personal goal is, this is a great way. If you are trying to lose weight, to one, definitely make sure you have a handle on what you're eating, but two, up your movement. Like, it's just going to help us burn more calories. And that doesn't have to mean working out more. There's multiple ways that we burn calories. One is just our resting metabolic rate. That is the amount of calories your body needs just to survive, just to pump your blood, to breathe the air, to your vital functions. That's like 70% of the calories that we burn. Also, second category is our workouts, right? So intentional exercise, like going to the gym, going for a walk. But a big part of that is our NEAT, which is non-exercise activity. And that's, walking through the parking lot, it's cleaning your house. It's, wrangling up children. It's any kind of movement that you do, washing dishes, doing chores. It's not necessarily exercise, but your body is using fuel to fuel that activity. So you burn a good amount of activity, a good amount of calories that way. That's why we talk about, you can work out for 45 minutes and then sit at a desk your whole day and you're still considered inactive because you're not moving very much. And third way of daily activity is the thermal effect of food. And so that's the calories that your body needs to burn the food that you eat. One of the things we talked about last week was protein has the highest thermal effect of food. So when you eat more protein, your body burns more calories uses more calories to digest it. So that's a kind of another benefit. So this is how we burn calories. So let's talk about the different types of movement. The one that is the most underrated, in my opinion, is walking. Okay. Everyone can do it. Mostly everyone, I would say, unless you have an injury, whether you're super overweight, you're elderly, even have a broken arm, you can still go for a walk. It's so good for so many reasons. It's great for beginners. Anyone can do it. It doesn't take a lot of equipment. All you need is a pair of comfortable shoes. It can be very social as far as going for a walk with a friend or with your kiddo or with your spouse. It can be a great connection time. And it's also great for your mental health. There are studies out there that show walking, especially outside, can help with mental health challenges tremendously because you just want to feel better. Your circulation's going, you're in the sunshine. Even in the middle of winter, you're still getting some vitamin D. Walking is awesome. So the goal, if you have the ability, would be a daily walk of some type. We don't always have that, right? Because of kids or weather or life circumstances. So as much as you can, get walks in. Okay. Even if it's like we've talked about, the old saying, like parking far away at the grocery store, the farther parking spots, going for a walk around the building on your lunch break, walking up and down your stairs in your home if you're stuck inside. Walking. And this, I would say, is great if you are just a beginner and you're uncertain as far as your ability to exercise with intensity. Walking is a great place to start. If you are also working out in the other ways we're going to talk about, like resistance training and cardiovascular training, walking is a great addition to. It doesn't have to replace those forms of exercise. Okay. Oh, another thing about walking is it's also an activity that doesn't necessarily always increase your hunger. So when I have clients who are trying to lose weight, maybe they hit a plateau, they might be struggling. One of the things I always say is please add in a walk, because you can do it. It's going to burn calories, but it's not going to make you super hungry. If you went for a run, you're going to burn so many calories that you're going to come back and really feel like that need to refuel. Walking is something that doesn't necessarily always increase hunger. And so it's a good way to just burn some extra calories without your body kind of realizing it. Okay. Always stay hydrated with all of our workouts. Second thing is resistance training. Okay. This is one that, again, I think is overlooked a lot of times, especially by females. You need to challenge your body. And this is something that we're going to talk about with all these forms of exercise. Walking is different because it can be leisurely. It can be, you're not necessarily, oh, well, the show. Sorry, we have a robot vacuum and it's going to start trying to vacuum in here. It's going to be super loud. So I shut the door. So walking is not necessarily always has to be intense, but with resistance training, cardio, all the other things we're going to talk about, you want to make sure that you're challenging your body. So resistance training is great because it doesn't just burn calories in your workout, right? You're like going to go down there, you're going to move your body, you're going to, move some weights, stretch some bands, you're burning calories. But when you build muscle, it burns more calories at rest for the long haul. So the more muscle you have, this is how you see people who will just be in a calorie deficit and get super thin, have a hard time keeping that weight off because they've lost a lot of muscle. Whereas if you lose weight by, being in a calorie deficit, but by prioritizing protein and resistance training, and you build muscle, when you get down to your healthy size, you have lean muscle that burns more calories at rest. So you can eat a normal amount of food. You're not having to have to starve yourself the rest of your life. Not a fan of super low calorie diets. I don't think they're, sustainable, and I don't think they're healthy long term. And that is my professional certified nutrition coach and personal trainer opinion. Take it or leave it, but deficit is important for losing weight, but you have to make sure you're prioritizing your protein and resistance training to build that muscle. Okay. You can do this with anything. You can do it with weights. You can do it with bands. You could do it with, jugs of water or milk, right? Anything that's going to create resistance. And this is where we also want to talk about, you want to be challenging your muscles. So if you go into the gym or you get some bands and you can do 12 easily, you need to get more resistance or you need to do more reps to the point you want it to feel like it's a challenge. Challenges is what changes your body. It's what builds your muscle, creates those microscopic tears. Tears sounds like a bad word, but it actually is what helps the muscle atrophy. I can't say that word. It's what helps build the muscles. Okay. It's also going to help you improve your mood. It's a great stress reducer. It's also good at injury prevention because the more muscle you have to support your bones, to support your balance, to support your posture, you're less likely, especially older people, you're less likely to fall. You're less likely to break bones. You want to make sure you're building your muscle. And the best way to do that is with resistance training. So our recommendation is 3 times a week, some kind of resistance training. Again, you can use kettlebells, you can use bands. You want to make sure you're either increasing your repetitions or you're increasing your weights so that you are progressing along. If you are in the First Form app, there's multiple programs in there that you can do, exercise programs that are at home, they're at the gym. There's also cardio programs in there. If you need an idea of where to start. Another cool thing is if you are in that app and there's like a workout, and you don't know what the move is, say it says like bicep curl and you don't know what that is, you can click on it and it will give you a little tutorial of how to do it. So for beginners who are like maybe intimidated with resistance training, you can do it in the comfort of your own home and learn. I mean, there are many times, especially I love the idea of CrossFit workouts, but I've never gone to a CrossFit gym. So I don't have the form. I've just never been trained. So I will literally watch YouTube videos on how to do it and try it again, because I'm like, you want to always make sure your form is correct before progressing, because we always want to prevent injury. So don't be afraid to learn. It's always going to benefit you in the long run with some resistance training. Okay. Third is cardio. This is one that we're very familiar with. Running, elliptical, swimming, jump roping. You can also do cardio without machines. Again, like anything that involves jumping. If you're worried about your joints, swimming and things like that. By definition, cardio is just something that your body, it needs with oxygen, right? It helps your lungs pump, your heart pump, your circulatory system. It's almost like turning a car on. Like if you had a car that you just sat in the driveway for 10 years and never turned it on, it would not run very well, right? So this cardio, you can think about it as like you're turning on your engine a couple times a week to make sure that it's running properly, to make sure everything is flowing correctly, right? It's going to help, again, like all these forms of movement with so many things, mood, helping regulate blood sugar, helping you sleep better. This is where I always think this is for my heart. Okay. Resistance training is for my muscles. Cardio is for my heart. And so sometimes I'm like I did cardio today. Sometimes I'm like, oh, it's kind of boring, right? Depending on what it is. But I'm like, this is important. If I want my heart to be healthy, and again, heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the US. Okay. #1. And people don't talk about it. But the problem is you get heart disease when you're 65, but the beginnings of heart disease start when you're 35, right? Your diet, your exercise, how you're treating your body shows up, because it is a very slow progression to where you're having a stroke or you're having heart issues. Take care of your heart now and it will take care of you later. Okay. The recommendation is 30 minutes, 5 times a week, which can sound like a lot. So if you kind of can think of 150 minutes a week, I tend to do 45 minutes 3 times a week, which is about 140, right? 145, 35, around there. You just want to make sure that this is a part of your plan. So if I had to prescribe, like, here's your workout plan, it would be 3 days of resistance training, 3 days of cardio, but you can combine those. So if I go do 45 minutes of cardio, and then I take a 30 minutes to do some resistance training, or even 25, like you can really, if you are purposeful, you can get a lot done in a short amount of time. Then if you only have 3 days a week, you can just combine them or do what you can. That's the general prescription. But if you can only work out twice a week is better than 0, right? 3 is better than 0. 4 is better than 0. You just want to make sure that you're prioritizing your movement. Okay. 4th, flexibility. So this is going to help take care of your body now that you're challenging it, right? This could be yoga. It could be foam rolling. It could be mobility training. It can be anything that you are lengthening and strengthening your muscles. It will help, again, with injury prevention. It helps with sore muscles, helps circulation, posture, and it can release tension. So if you were like one of those people that like, oh man, my neck is so tight, I'm sitting here at this computer like all day long, stretching that out is going to be nothing but good. One thing that I heard recently that I never really thought of is that sometimes foam rolling, which I'll post in the group some tips on foam rolling, because I don't think I've ever really shared that. Just basically, it's like this foam tube that you roll under like your shoulders, under your back, under your legs, is sometimes more beneficial for getting out knots and tension in muscles, because there's a more force, right? So I can stretch out my shoulders like, oh, stretch, stretch, stretch. If I have a knot in here, the roller is what's going to get it out. It like works out the like pockets of fluid. So if you have tight muscles, foam rolling might be something that might be beneficial to you. But I would encourage you, just like, turning on your car, You have to make sure that you're keeping your flexibility, because you don't want to get to the point where you're, again, 65 and can't reach your shoes to tie them. Keeping our body fluid, keeping it flexible is always important. So again, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there for yoga, stretching. Again, whatever fits. It could be 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, before your workout, after your workout. Typically, you want to aim for dynamic stretches before your workout. That's like, some lunges, some like moving stretches right before your workout, because you're getting the blood flowing. Static stretches were the ones, like, think of like gym class where you touch your toes and you hold it. Those are better for after your workout, because they're, again, helping the muscles come back to their normal length. All right. And the last one, which I did not share, this is something I added recently because I just finished my personal trainer certification. This is one that they had in there. I was like, this is so smart that I never thought of. Balance training with the intention of improving our balance now. So if we play sports, if we're going to be lifting weights, we want to make sure that we're safe, and balance helps that. But even more so to prevent injury and fall in later life. So you think of, you always hear of like older people like falling and breaking a hip, or they break their clavicle, because you get off balance as you age. So the more you can kind of work on your balance again as we age, the more strength and balance we're going to have as we get older. It's posture, it's core strength, and this could be as simple as, doing some balance poses in yoga, which again, you could Google, or I could put some of those out on our page. It can be, if you're, doing some bicep curls, doing them on one leg, right? It's just challenging the muscle. And it's really, you don't want to be lifting your max while you're balancing. This is more training the small muscles in your ankles and your legs, and also the processes in your brain that helps you stay balanced. There's a big word for that I'm not going to try to say. But it will help you exercise that, so that as we age, again, we can keep our balance. And again, it also could be a good focusing exercise. So wanted to add that one in. So how do we incorporate movement into a busy life? One, I would say put it on your calendar. We always say, if it's on your calendar, it's important to you. If it's not, is it important to you, right? So like I said, if you have 2 workouts a week, if you have 5, if you put them on your calendar, you're more likely to achieve them, and see where they actually fit. For some people, getting it done early in the morning is better. For some people, getting it done at the end of the day is better. Whatever works for you. But I would say keep that time sacred. This is important enough that we want to make sure that it's a priority. Again, you can break that down into small chunks. If you only have 20 minutes on a lunch break to do a walk, get that in, right? Put it into manageable chunks that fit into your day. If you only have a little time, try some more higher intensity workouts. Those can be, again, we can, if you have questions about this, there's also examples in the first format. EMOM workouts, which are every minute on the minute. These are the ones that I've been doing recently. And man, they get your heart rate up and they improve your muscles in like 30 minutes. So sometimes having those shots of intensity make your workout more effective, rather than like moseying through the gym for an hour and 15 minutes. Combine physical activity with daily tasks. So again, cleaning your house is a workout half the time. Doing chores outside, or say you have to listen to a training call or a podcast, going for a walk while you're doing that. Feel that, have the adaptability that sometimes things will change. You might have a season where you're like, especially in the summertime, man, we will go for walks every day. In the wintertime, that just doesn't happen. We have to adapt our schedule, set realistic goals, but again, keep them sacred, but celebrate the wins. I always say one of the things, you have to celebrate the process, not just the progress. So celebrate, my goal is 5 workouts this week. I got all 5. That's a win. More so than like, oh, my scale hasn't moved in a week. The scale is very fickle, but if you can celebrate you keeping the commitment to yourself, you are eventually going to see the progress that you want. View it as an investment in your overall health, and it will be. Okay. So last thing, make sure that we're keeping our bodies moving, staying consistent, challenging ourselves, incorporate a variety of all these things. Like we talked about, walking is great for your mental health. Cardio is great for your heart. Resistance training is great for your muscles. Flexibility is great, for that fluid movement as we age, and balance, as to keep us safe also as we progress in life. So any questions? I'm going to stop sharing. Pop any questions you have in the chat or in the Facebook group comments as well. And that's pretty quick. Hopefully effective. I know sometimes these are like a fire hose, but I always want to make sure that you have the information that you need. And again, I love answering questions. So if you're like, listen, I have degenerative disc disease, what can I do? I will find out for you. A couple times we've dealt with injuries in our family, like Jim broke his foot, Shallow hurt her wrist. The one mindset we like to have is don't tell me what I can't do, tell me what I can do, right? There's always some form of movement that you can do almost in every situation to keep your body moving until it heals. Let's have that mindset of what can I do for my body? How can I move it? How can I improve my health? And if you have any questions, please reach out at any time. Other than that, I'm going to go eat my breakfast, go take the baby, get the girls off to school, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye, friends.